Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all to today's session. Today, Shwetabh Varma sir will be joining us as our guest speaker, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce him. Shwetabh sir enables APN partners on the AWS cloud platform. He conducts AWS trainings on various topics ranging from business to technical. He is also an experienced sales and management person. Welcome, sir. Thanks for joining us. Over to you, sir.
Great. Thank you, Ria. Thank you so much. I hope you all can hear me. A quick
Yes.
confirmation. Great. Thank you so much, Ria. Totally appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, AWS User Group. Thank you so much for providing me this opportunity, this wonderful opportunity, first of all. And I'm so very happy to be here to be part of this entire community, and this being my first session as well. So I'm super happy, super glad to introduce co-partners Rohini and Ria. Both of them are going to be there with us during this entire session, and they will be going ahead and picking up questions that's going to flow in on and off regularly that you will be posing if in case you have any question with regards to whatever is coming up on the slide. So that's around that. Well, the topic itself is quite vast. So all you want to know about AWS. So first of all, flat 60 minutes is not at all a good enough or good amount of time to talk about all you want to know about AWS. So what I have done is I've tried to make it very, very crisp, very, very precise, so that I can go ahead and cover a good amount of topic that is needed when you are kickstarting your journey on the AWS side. Absolutely. Uh, and certainly we want this entire communication to be bidirectional. So if I don't want to make it sound like robotic, or I don't want to make it sound like only I am speaking and you are listening. So if you have any question, go ahead and bring it up. That'll be certainly answered. What else? So I did go ahead and talk about Rohini. I did go ahead and talk about Ria, and a quick note about around what do we have in this today's presentation lined up as well. By the way, so we do have last 7 to 10 minutes lined up for Q&A session. So that's going to be a dedicated time that is there for all the questions that you may have during the session. So how is today's next about 57 minutes lined up for you? So we have been hearing quite a lot about Amazon Web Services, specifically during this COVID downtime. But I'm honestly coming here with a notion that not everybody is at the very same level. So what I will be doing is I'll be going ahead and taking a step back rather, and I'll be going ahead and talking a bit about what exactly is cloud computing. So what is this entire buzz all about? So that's where I'll go ahead and start with. Then I will go ahead and slowly move into uh, covering some of the basic building blocks of AWS. Again, 60 minutes is not at all good enough time to talk about all the 175 plus services of AWS. So we have gone ahead and cherry picked the services that we will be going ahead and, or rather, I will be going ahead and talking about. ReInvent, the Mahakumbh of Amazon Web Services, the flagship event of Amazon Web Services, which happens every year. Thanks to COVID 2020, it was all virtual, and there were a whole bunch of announcements that were done during 2020 reInvent. So I've gone ahead and picked up again, some of the services that is going to be of interest to you. We have gone ahead and have put up a couple of slides around that as well. Great. First 3 points, all about AWS, all about announcements. But the next point, which is point number 4, how do you get started with AWS? So that's what we'll go ahead and talk about in section or module 4. uh, I believe that a good number of you are from the student community, or if you are a starter on the AWS side. So AWS goes ahead and provides a whole bunch of free services. Again, we have gone ahead and lined up a whole bunch of free community I can't really say exercise, but free community options that is coming your way free of cost. So I have gone ahead and talked about or lined up all their activities over there. Then any discussion is actually incomplete if you don't really talk about the training and certification of Amazon Web Services. So that's also lined up over there. And as I said, last few minutes around Q&A over there. Great. So cloud community. Uh, as I said, so let's do justice to everybody. Let's go ahead and bring everybody on the very same level. And what I would like to do here is I would like to go ahead and create a scenario for all of you. And what I meant by creating a scenario is I will go ahead and cite an example, and I would expect you all to give me the answer. If not, never mind. I will go ahead and tell you what exactly is the best possible way out in a situation like this or that. So, by the way, I stay in Bangalore. So I typically go ahead and drive a hatchback car. And, one fine day, my parents, who also stay in Ranchi, by the way. So yeah, it's a great coincidence. So they announced that, hey, you know what? We are visiting you. So I said, wonderful, come over. So three people fitting in a hatchback car is a wonderful option. We can go for short little drives, go to nearby cities. Fair enough. Point well taken. As per planned, conspiracy between my parents and my sister, they say that my sister announced that she is also visiting me along with her family. So four of them and three of us at this point of time, my parents and myself, fitting in a small hatchback car. It's going to be a bit, crampy situation. So what should I be doing in a situation like this? Should I be going ahead and buying a new car? Or should I be going ahead and renting out a car, or maybe going for maybe a self-driven car, something like this? So what are your thoughts around this? So I will give it maybe 10 seconds for you to come up with answer. Uh, Great. I would certainly like to believe that buying a car just for a short duration of time doesn't really make any sense. So renting out a car or maybe taking a self-driven car makes total sense in a situation like this. And now let's go ahead and replicate the same model into an e-commerce scenario. So there's an e-commerce company which announces that, hey, you know what? We have a weekend bonanza sale coming up 2 months down the line. So everybody in the organization starts working towards it. The supply chain team, the pricing team, the internal team which works on the recommendation engine, etc., etc. So they all start working towards it. So the team that is worried the most is the infra team, because they are expecting the web traffic to go up by 20% and the transaction to go up by 30% on their website. So what they should be doing in a situation like this? So the current set of infrastructure or the server or the rack or the storage devices that they have won't really be able to take that much of load. So they can't really go ahead and maybe buy a server or a rack, and after the weekend Bonanza sale is over, they can't really go to olx.com and put it up on sale over there. I have never ever seen a server being sold like that. So in a situation like this, cloud computing as a concept or as a service fits in absolutely wonderfully great. So the absolute great way out for that e-commerce company will be that they go to a cloud service provider and they go ahead and take the amount of infra they need on rent. And once the weekend bonanza sale is over, they can actually go ahead and release it and only pay them for the amount of time they have used it for, the amount of or the kind of services they have used. So that's the benefit the entire concept of cloud computing or cloud computing services bring on table for any customer. So now let's go ahead and talk about the global infrastructure to start with. And it's an important concept when you go ahead and start looking into the cloud computing space. And trust me, it is very, very important, primarily because this is what this is what makes the the data or the movies available to you in a shorter span of time, and this is what it makes everything up and running. So talking about AWS global infrastructure, AWS went ahead and created, and they go ahead and maintain and continue to grow global infrastructure that goes ahead and provides continuous availability. So team, you must be thinking that I'm looking at, in different directions. That's primarily because a typical instructor's life is, they have to go ahead and toggle between different screens. So, um, bear with me. Okay, so coming back to the slide now, right? So on the very top, I've written 25 global regions, one local region, 80 availability zone, and 200 plus POP, which is point of presence. AWS has the largest global infrastructure footprint with 25 regions, 80 AZs with or more, which is a more or one or more data center, and 200 plus point of presence with 205 edge locations included. And one point to note here is, and this footprint is constantly increasing, and it is increasing at a very, very significant rate. Uh, let's talking a bit about what region is, what AZ is. AWS region stands at the highest level of the AWS global infrastructure. Each region is a separate geographic area that has multiple regions which is isolated from each other, which is known as AZ or availability zone. AZs can have multiple data centers and at full scale can go ahead and include hundreds or thousands of servers. So that's in short what AZ and what what a region is. So I'm not really sure if you are following what's happening in the Amazon Web Services space. So Amazon Web Services, they went in and announced. So Mumbai in India, we have a region in Mumbai. So we went ahead and announced that there is another region that's going to open up. Uh, Anybody who knows where this new region that's going to come up? Anybody who has any idea? Uh, Great. So I'm not really keeping a track of the chat, but I'm sure you know it. There is a new region that's coming up in Hyderabad in India, and there's another region that's coming up in Melbourne in Australia. So these two regions will be up and running by mid of next year, 2022. So that's around that. Now let's look into regions and availability zone. Uh, this one out here is a blown out version of a region and AZ. So if you can see here, a region which is 25 in number is a physical location in the world where we have multiple availability zone. And a region is made up of two or more AZs. If you can see here, so this is one region here, the smaller version in the black circle on the left hand side bottom. When it is blown out, you will see there are three AZs which make up one region. So couple of points to note here is a region is made up of two or more AZs or availability zone. Now talking about availability zone, AZs consist of one or more discrete data center, uh, each with redundant power, networking, and connectivity, which is housed in separate facilities altogether. Some important pointers to note around availability zone are they exist on isolated fault lines, floodplains, networks, and electrical grids to substantially reduce the chance of any kind of simultaneous failure. Some important points at the bottom of the slide as well. AWS infrastructure is monitored 24 by 7 to help ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of your data. And you can actually go ahead and quickly spin up resources as you need them, deploying hundreds or even thousands of servers in minutes. So gone are the days wherein you actually go ahead and create a bill of material. So when you're actually going ahead and ordering a server or a rack or a storage device, so the very first step, if you look at it from an enterprise point of view, is you create a bill of material. Then it goes through an entire process in the organization, and then only the server or the hardware device arrives at your doorstep of your organization. And typically, the industry standard says that it takes about 4 to 6 weeks for a hardware device to arrive at your office doorstep. And then keep in mind that you have to additionally add on some more time for it to get installed, for it for the wiring to be done, for all the cabling activity to happen. So that's the past that we're talking about. So gone are the days when this all used to happen. Now we are talking about Amazon Web Services, wherein you actually go ahead and spin up instances in not more than uh, 45 seconds. So that's the amount of time it takes to spin up an instance. And mind you, you can actually do it anywhere across the globe. So that's an add-on benefit it brings on the table. Okay, so I clicked on the end option. So let's go back to the global infrastructure. Okay, so this is where we go ahead and look into how users can go ahead and rent virtual computers on which they can go ahead and run their own computer application. So, three important pointers to note here is you would have been hearing quite a lot about EC2, ECS, Amazon ECS, EKS, and Fargate, and AWS Lambda. So, another important point that I would like to tell you all is I will go ahead and keep on bringing in a lot of uh, real life instances, examples that I have faced, and so that it's easy for you to relate to the topic, to the concept that I'm talking about. So, foundations for innovation. The first point is compute services. We are going ahead and delivering a choice in how you go ahead and consume compute to support existing application and build new application. And that's where the first option is EC2. Is a web service that goes ahead and provides secure, resizable compute capacity in cloud. Mind you, that's an important concept. So, moving ahead, the situation your customer comes to you, or maybe when you're doing a project, you got a Docker container to run. What do? Don't worry, AWS has got a solution for that as well. We do have something called Amazon Elastic Container Service, which is a highly scalable, high performance container management service, which will go ahead and help you out. Let's look into the next one, which is Amazon EKS. It's a managed service that goes ahead and makes it easy for you to run Kubernetes on AWS without needing to install and operate your own Kubernetes control plane or worker nodes. Fargate, AWS Fargate, is a serverless compute engine for containers that work with both Amazon ECS and Amazon EKS as well. AWS Lambda. AWS Lambda. So when I actually went ahead and started my first, IT job, my first work. So I was expected to write a code. I wrote the code and I, provisioned the infra. And because of XYZ reason, the code it kind of bursted. It didn't run on the infra. So my next task after that was to do an RCA. And once I did the RCA, I was supposed to write a SOP document. So think about the amount of time that I wasted in writing the code, doing RCA, and then writing the SOP document. Now, so that's the past that I'm talking about. Now we have something called AWS Lambda, wherein you only focus on writing a code. That's it. Don't really worry about what kind of infra is needed to run that code. AWS Lambda will go ahead and take care of all that. Are you worried about how much you will be paying for that? Don't think about all that aspect at this point of time. Only and only go ahead and focus on writing a code, on writing your code. AWS Lambda on the pricing side, you only pay whenever your code is running. So that's the kind of pricing philosophy it follows. Broadest and deepest platform choice. Why is it needed? uh, Customer, or maybe you, when you are doing a project, you may have different scenarios. There may be a scenario wherein you are doing a POC, or maybe there is a scenario wherein you are maybe utilizing one of the services of AWS. So there are two different use cases, there are two different scenarios, which means you can't really go ahead and utilize just one EC2 instance uh, to satiate or to satisfy both these scenarios. To handle a situation like this, what AWS did is they came up with a whole bunch of new, or maybe rather, uh, not this one. Yeah. So to go ahead and uh, take care of all these aspects. So if you see this particular, uh, can you all, okay, you can't see this, great. So I think you can see this now. So to take care of situation like this, what AWS did is AWS came up with a whole bunch of configurations. So we have about 383 different configurations on the EC2 side, and that takes care of any kind of customer situation that can come up. So that's around that. Let's move on and look into the storage services of AWS. AWS goes ahead and provides a variety of storage option so that customer can go ahead and take care or take advantage of the right storage service. So I'll go ahead and cherry pick some of the services from this slide. I won't really get into all of them. So let's look into object storage, the very famous Amazon S3. So it's an object storage service that goes ahead and offers industry leading scalability, data availability, security, and performance. Uh, Something very interesting about S3, it goes ahead and offers unlimited storage. You can actually go ahead and store unlimited amount of object in S3, but the only, can't really say condition, but the only limitation it comes up with is the maximum size of one out of the entire object that you're storing in S3. The maximum capacity is 5 terabytes. 5 terabytes, that's still huge, right? Let's move on to the next one, which is your EBS, Amazon EBS. Amazon EBS goes ahead and provides persistent block storage volume for use with Amazon EC2 instances in the AWS cloud. Let's look into something else. So we have a whole bunch of options under the file section. So we have something called EFS, or Amazon Elastic File System, which goes ahead and provides a simple, scalable, fully managed Elastic NFS file system. FSX for Windows File Server, fully managed file storage built on Windows Server. We also have Amazon FSX for Lustre. That's again a fully managed service that provides cost-effective, high performance, scalable storage, which is powered by Lustre. On the backup side, we have AWS Backup, which is a fully managed backup service. It's that makes it easy to centralize and automate the backup of data across AWS services. Data transfer at the bottom and edge processing. I will go ahead and talk about something very interesting here. So if you look at the last three blocks, so we have something called Snow Family. So in that we have Snowmobile, Snowball, and Snow Cone. Snow Cone is the latest member in the Snow family, and it actually goes there and fits into your backpack, and it provides it brings in edge computing functionality as well. Snowmobile is actually is actually a truck which you can station in your physical data center, plug in the cable, move your data into Snowmobile, and then it gets shipped to the AWS data center. Snowball is a rugged device which also gets shipped to your uh, data center. You can move in the device, and then it gets shipped back to the AWS data center. So we will go ahead and move on to the next slide. So we do have other services under data transfer and edge processing, storage gateway, and data sync and transfer family. So what are customers building on AWS? So I'll go ahead and let you read this, but I want to talk about something very interesting here. So backup and restore. So I know of a customer in North America wherein they were actually going ahead and only utilizing the hardware device to store their data. That was actually their backup. But as and when the time passed by, they realized, what if in case there is a fire in that particular building where they are storing these tapes? So they were tapes actually. So that's when they started utilizing the AWS services, and it actually came in very, very handy if in case I go ahead and talk about backup and restore services of AWS. So likewise, we have, there are a lot of customers who are going ahead and building data lake on top of AWS. They're actually going ahead and building a lot of modern applications on top of AWS. Uh, Now, I will go ahead and start this slide by asking you all, by coming up with the statement that, have you ever seen this kind of collection of purpose-built database? I don't really think you will find this kind of collection anywhere else. So if you want the right tool for right job that gives you differentiated performance and productivity and customer experience, you got to use the right purpose built database. And that's where these purpose built database come in very, very handy. Let me start with the very first block here. Relational database. Relation is a category. And for that, what we have is Aurora and RDS. So this is where Amazon Aurora fits an Amazon RDS open source engine, PostgreSQL, MySQL, and MariaDB, and RDS commercial engine such as SQL Server and Oracle database comes in very, very handy. Let's move on to the next one. So the very first block we talked about relational database. So what if in case your customer has non-relational database? What do you do in that case? Let me go ahead and give you an example here. So your left hand glove will never fit your right hand glove. So that's why what AWS did is they came up with a service called Amazon DynamoDB, which is purpose built again for non-relational database. Moving on, talking about uh, document. So for that, we have your developers want a flexible way to store and query data in the database by using the same document model they use in their application code. There are a couple of customers out there who have gone ahead and automated compliance platform, ensure all of their AWS resources across thousands of accounts meet various compliance standard. And that's where document DB has come in very, very handy. Moving to the next section, let's say, for example, your application can't even go ahead and stand single digit millisecond latency. And what you need in that case is even faster, say, for example, microsecond latency database. And what you need in that case is you need to go ahead and use in-memory database and have a cache that can go ahead and access data in microseconds. And that's why we went ahead and built Amazon Elastic Cache, which is managed Redis and managed Memcached. And that's what companies like, on the food and beverage side. So they are going and utilizing in-memory database, this particular services quite a lot. Okay, so let's see what do we have next. So next, we have a whole bunch of other options coming up. Neptune, TimeStream, QLDB, and key spaces under the section, which is this one. If you can see my red dot here, graph, time series, ledger database, wide column database. So yes, we do have a whole bunch of services available on the database side, which can go ahead and help you out. So I may want to go ahead and talk about, say, for example, the ledger database. Ledgers are typically used to record a history of economic and financial activity in an organization. Say, for example, you're going ahead and tracking the history of credits and debits in banking transaction and verifying the data lineage of an insurance claim or tracing movement of an item in a supply chain network. For this, we went ahead and built Amazon QLDB, a fully managed ledger database that provides a transparent, immutable, and cryptographically verifiable transaction log. So great. So that's around database side. So you know, if you are if you are an organization, or say for example, if you are from the education background, your core focus should really be going ahead and maybe trying out some of the new services of AWS. Or if you are a maybe customer, your core focus should be focusing on what you are good at. You shouldn't really be going ahead and focusing on managing the database, which is on the left side of the screen. Schema design, query construction, etc., ending at built-in best practices. So that's a self-managed database. What AWS brought on table is something called fully managed database, wherein AWS will go ahead and take care of uh, from automatic failover till built-in best practices. And what it brings on the table for customer or for you is it lets you go ahead and focus on what your core job and not uh, is not really expecting you to go ahead and manage your database. So any AWS discussion is actually incomplete if you're not really going ahead and talking about security aspect. And what I meant by security aspect is there's a concept of shared responsibility model. So whatever is there in the cloud, AWS, or it's the responsibility of the customer or of the person who owns that particular account. Now, if we look at the bottom, which is security of the cloud. So this is what is the responsibility of AWS team. So security of the cloud, AWS is responsible for protecting and protecting the infrastructure that runs all of the services offered in the AWS cloud. And security in the cloud, in very, very simple words, if I were to describe that, customer is responsible or it's customer's responsibility uh, to determine by the AWS cloud service that a customer selects what kind of security measures that he or she has to apply to that particular account. And this goes ahead and eventually determines the amount of configuration work the customer must perform as part of their security responsibility. As an extension of all that, what we have done is we have gone ahead and tested our platform with a whole bunch of stamps, attestation certificates. And mind you, these all are not done by AWS solution architects, but these all are done by third-party agencies. And we have to constantly go ahead and recertify ourselves. Just to give you one example, so eventually, I'm sure you all will end up working with some organization. And if you're going ahead and acting as brand ambassador of Amazon Web Services in your respective organization, and if you end up dealing with a customer who is from healthcare life sciences vertical, trust me, the very first question that the customer is going to ask you is the platform HIPAA compliant or no? If you're dealing with a customer who deals in credit card transaction, the very first question that they will ask you uh, is the platform, does the platform have PCI DSS compliance? And when you walk out of today's class, I want you all to act as brand ambassadors and stand up and say confidently that yes, AWS platform has all these things. Moving ahead, a whole bunch of other services which goes ahead and validates the AWS security, identity, and compliance solution. I can go ahead and pick up some of them. Say, for example, CloudWatch. CloudWatch is a monitoring tool that AWS has gone ahead and offered. And what it does is it goes ahead and provides you with a monitoring tool, and you can keep a track of what's happening in your entire infrastructure. What if in case your environment faces a DDoS attack, what do you do in that case? AWS has a solution for that. It's called Shield, AWS Shield. So yes, we do have service around, or a option available around that as well. Then another one that I would like to pick up is AWS Cloud Trail. So what does this do? So Cloud Trail goes ahead and keeps a track of every API call that is made in your entire in your entire environment, and that is this service is very, very helpful. Typically, if you are going ahead and uh, maybe getting into any kind of audit, so this service goes ahead and helps you quite a lot in a situation like that. Which other service? So let me go ahead and pick up maybe one more from this slide. Okay, so maybe Lambda we went ahead and talked about. IAM, I think I should be going ahead and talking about AWS Identity and Access Management. Uh, AWS IAM, Identity and Access Management. You can actually go ahead and uh, define, enforce, and audit user permission across AWS services, actions, and resources. Uh, Again, a whole bunch of other services under the security, identity, and compliance solution. We will be going ahead and passing on a good amount of link to you during the chat sessions as well. Don't worry about it. You can have a look at them at your leisure. Networking. So we find that our customers tend to adopt things in stages as your projects move from phase one to phase two, etc. So these groups might be helpful. So we have gone ahead and put them in different groups. So foundation, advanced, and specialized. So if you are in an early phase of your adoption, so the options that you see in the foundational phase in the yellow box, Route 53, ELB or Elastic Load Balancer, VPC, and site to site VPN is something that will come in very, very handy. So you certainly go ahead and progress, and that's where the services in advanced group, which is the purple group, comes in very, very handy. And the services in green box are the ones which is for more specialized needs. So let's go ahead and pick up maybe a couple of them here. So I will go ahead and maybe talk about, say, for example, AWS Transit Gateway. So what does AWS Transit Gateway do? So AWS Transit Gateway connects VPCs, which is virtual private cloud, and on-premises network through a central hub. And this goes ahead and simplifies the network and puts an end to end and puts an end to complex peering relationship. And it certainly goes ahead and acts as cloud router. Each new connection is only made once. So another one that I may want to pick up from here is AWS Private Link, and it goes ahead and provides private connectivity between VPCs and service hosted on AWS or on premises securely on the Amazon network by providing a private endpoint to access your services. And AWS Private Link ensures your traffic is not exposed to public internet. So team, you know, I did go ahead and talk about a whole bunch of services in the past few minutes, and I haven't really talked about another whole bunch of services which were there up on the slide as well. So it's very interesting that you may want to go ahead and know about all of them. So what AWS has done is AWS has gone ahead and come up with a whole bunch of FAQ document. So one resource that I would like to talk about here is, so if you can see my screen here, okay, so if you see this particular link here, so aws.amazon.com/FAQ. So we have FAQ document created for all those services that we go ahead and provide to anybody and everybody out there who wants to know and learn more about or wants to utilize AWS services. So have a good link, a good look at all of these. So this goes ahead and clarifies a good amount of doubt that you may have over a period of time. So quick look at the time, 11:40. So let's move on. Let's see, what do we have next? Great. Very, very nice and interesting slide around what we are presenting to you know, anyone out there, be it an enterprise customer, be it a startup, or be it somebody from education sector, or maybe a student like you. I'm also student, I'm also still learning, so I would like to say that. So you talk about analytics, compute, end user computing, machine learning, mobile or mobile internet of things. You talk about it, and we have a service available around that. So there is something that I would like to specifically mention here, that out here we go ahead and say that let the customer come up with a problem statement, and we have a service available around that. Which means, as a student or from the student community, if you have a if you want to go ahead and try out something new, if you want to go ahead and maybe come up or do a POC, right? So think about it, and we do have a service around that as well. So that's what I would like to say from that aspect. So now let's go and get into the next section, which wherein I will go ahead and talk about some of the new announcement that were done around reInvent 2020. So before I look into get into this, what I would like to show you is something very, very interesting. So if you see this PDF, so this is a publicly available PDF. So this is a whole bunch of announcement which were done during reInvent 2020, which was in virtual mode. A whole bunch of announcement around security compliance, mobile, marketplace, machine learning, management and governance, IoT industry. So a whole bunch of announcement around that. But what I have done for you is I've gone ahead and again cherry picked some of the services, and I'm going to talk about them. So on the analytics side, what I would like to talk about specifically is something very interesting, which is quick site preview. If you see this quick site here, I have gone ahead and put in a hyperlink as well over there. So what I would like to do is so what this particular service will do is it lets you go ahead and ask any kind of question uh, depending on the data that you have, and you will go ahead and receive the information uh, your way. So this is how this particular page looks like. If you see this quick demo here on the top, you're actually going ahead and typing what is the weekly sales in California versus New York this year. And what you get as an output is a line graph. So it's as self-intuitive as that. Moving on, I want to talk about Amazon EC2 Mac instances. So earlier we only had Linux and Windows instances, and there was this complaint constantly coming to us, wherein what about folks who go ahead and use Mac instances? And yes, we went ahead and announced something around that as well. So for this, we have Mojave and Catalina operating system at this point of time, and you can actually go ahead and start utilizing this as well. So a quick look around that, if you see this. So yes, Amazon EC2 Mac instances, this is up and running at this point of time. A whole bunch of benefits, features that you can see. And we do have some customers as well out there already. So then moving on, again, on the database side, we have, it's in the preview mode, Babelfish for Aurora PostgreSQL. It's a SQL Server compatibility for Aurora PostgreSQL. So what next? On the industry side, yes, there are a lot of organizations which are moving or getting into the industry or vertical mode. So we do have one around that as well. Machine learning, Monitron. So that's something very, very interesting. So let's look into this. So I would like to say, what does Monitron do? Monitron goes ahead and detects any kind of abnormal machine behavior, and it goes ahead and enables predictive maintenance. So that's what Monitron does. So if you see this, so let me know, you know, is there any other CSP or cloud service provider out there in the market which gives you this kind of functionality? So if you see these hardware devices, you can actually go to the e-commerce page of Amazon and buy these hardware devices. These are those sensors on the left hand side. If you see this, these are sensors, and these sensors can be fitted wherever you want to keep a track of the equipment, and these sensors in turn will go ahead and pass on data to the Monitron gateway. And then what you can do is you can actually go ahead and install the Monitron app on your mobile phone, and it'll go ahead and give you a real time indication around how your you know mm, how your device is performing, or maybe how your entire I can't really say architecture, but yes, how your these options are performing. So this particular service is quite extensively good and used for monitoring motors, gearboxes, pumps, fans, bearings, compressors. So yes, this is a perfect use case for Monitron. Around storage, EBS IoT Block Express, so highest performance block storage. So I'll go ahead and restrict myself to at this point of time around new services. I will go ahead and share the link of the PDF. In fact, I'm sure Rohini must be doing or maybe doing it in parallel around as and when we are progressing with the presentation. So, anybody out there in the audience who comes up with the notion that machine learning is only meant for scientists or data scientists or for PhD holders. So, if you have that notion in mind, trust me, I'm going to help you break that up. Of course, I will not shy away from the fact that having a PhD degree in mathematics or knowing, stats or quants is an add-on benefit. But what AWS is doing is AWS has gone ahead and, made a lot of things very easy for you. And when I say they have gone ahead and made things easy for you, I'm going to do a quick demo of some of the machine learning services, and you will see I'm not really writing a single line of code. Mind you, I'm not really writing a single line of code, and I'm still able to do uh, maybe some analysis around what exactly is that particular image all about. So if you see this, I'm going ahead and using this service called Amazon Recognition. And what it does is it goes ahead and searches, verifies, and organizes millions of images and video. So if you see this, I'm going to upload a video here. So not video, but an image. I'll go ahead and upload this one. Okay, so this image is uploaded, if you can see this. And you look at the results on the right-hand side. The result says water. What's the accuracy level? 99.7%. So this is the water out here. Outdoor scenery, nature, adventure, leisure activity. Yeah, there are rocks out here as well. Fountain, slate, river, waterfall. Yes, so there is immense amount of opportunity that AWS machine learning services provide. Let me show you another one, which is Comprehend. So Comprehend, what it does is it goes there and it's a natural language processing option, and it also does text analysis. Okay, so if you see this, I will go ahead and maybe clear this, and I will go ahead and look for uh, India cricket team. Let me go ahead and pick up this particular line from here, go here, paste this here, and I will also go ahead and write MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli. Okay, and I'll click on Analyze. Let's see what does it show up. So if you see here at the bottom, it is giving me information around what are the important words in this entire text here, which I typed out on top, like India, location, what's the confidence level, Team India, Men in Blue, MS Dhoni, and the interesting aspect, MS Dhoni is a person, the accuracy level is this much, and Virat Kohli, of course, the accuracy level is this much. And no, it's not only stopping there. You can actually go ahead and look for key phrases. What's the language? It's English. The accuracy level is this much. PII is basically personally identifiable data. So if in case there is any sensitive data that is used, it will go ahead and tell you that as well. Sentiment analysis, whether it's positive, negative, or neutral, sentiment that's coming out of this particular entire text, so it will go ahead and tell you that as well. Then syntax, yes, whether it's a proper noun, what exactly is it all about? So so the crux of this slide is machine learning is not only meant for data scientists, it's also meant for you and me. And yes, you should go ahead and dirty your hands by using some of these free services that AWS goes ahead and provides. Now, let's look into some of the use cases, some of the customers. So, uh, the entire message that I want to pass on to you from this slide is AWS doesn't only cater to the massive enterprise customers like Netflix of the world. Not only them. So we do have customers across verticals of various sizes, maybe a startup, maybe a SMB, maybe a massive enterprise customer. I'm sure you all know of Chai Point. Their core business is what? Their core business is nothing else but to make tea and coffee and serve it to their customer. They run on AWS. Their SAP system is running on AWS. They are utilizing the AWS IoT services. Zeroda, the the platform which is used quite extensively when you are into trading, if you're doing that. Baiju, downtime, COVID, Baiju has gained a lot of traction. MedLife on the healthcare life sciences side. Make My Trip, a platform which you can go ahead and use to book your tickets, flight tickets, road tickets, not road tickets, but yeah, rail tickets, and maybe bus tickets as well. So yes, Oyo, on the hospitality leisure side, they all use AWS platform. And where can you go ahead and find out all these? So AWS has gone ahead and created a, a if you can see my screen here. So trust me, anytime if you're getting a situation wherein you have to figure out whether AWS has got any customer in that area or no, so this is your go-to platform. So aws.amazon.com/solutions/case studies. So on the left hand side, you have a lot of options which you can pick and choose, and you can go ahead and narrow down on what kind of customer case study you are looking for. So great. I went ahead and talked about a whole bunch of things. I have gone ahead and talked about different services. I went ahead and talked about what happened in reInvent, all that stuff, right? So let me go ahead and talk about. I'm sure you all have questions, but all this sounds so fancy. But how do you get actually started with AWS? So links out there on the slide. These two links will redirect you to the AWS Fundamentals, which is must, I will say, which will give you a good amount of information around what all things you should be knowing to kickstart your journey when you are embracing Amazon Web Services. Once you have done that, you should move on to the next one, which is core concept. Great. So that's a good start for sure. Next, you all must be thinking that how can I get an access to the console? The console is where I went ahead and showed you the AWS Comprehend Services service. I uploaded that image, remember, and it gave me an analysis around that. So there's something called AWS Free Tier, but I have gone ahead and put in a exclamation sentence at the bottom, which says you need to be very clear and please go through the terms and conditions very, very carefully before you kickstart or create an account over there. I'm at 11:55. Just give me 2 more minutes, and I think I should be good here. Please be very careful because whenever you're creating an account, what it needs is AWS credit, your credit card details. So you need to be very, very clear on that front. Then what we have is a whole bunch of events and webinars which can go ahead and help you in revamp, ramp up, reinvent, reinforce. If you're interested in knowing more about cloud security, AWS Reinforce is the one. And let's say thank you to COVID, which is not really a right statement, but now everything is getting into virtual mode. I am absolutely sure that a good number of them will be also in a virtual mode. So go ahead and self-register yourself. The link is here at the bottom. I'm sure Rohini will be passing it on to all of you. It's all self-register. Go ahead and do it, and take advantage of the learning that is coming your way. If you're interested in machine learning, so this is a good news for you up there on the screen. So what we have done on our side is there is an open statement done, or this was an open statement that came in August 2020. Amazon's Machine Learning University is making its online courses available to the public. At the bottom, we have the link that will redirect you to the page wherein we have all the learning material. So, how I went ahead and learned more about AWS is this is all something that I did at a personal level, but I'm still sharing it with all of you. So, if you're active on Twitter, go ahead and follow some of these people like Jeff Barr, Andy Jassy, Werner Vogels. So these are great people, evangelists from our side, and there are a lot of times wherein they go ahead and announce about some of the services. They write blogs about some of the services. YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to these channels. User Group, of course, a great platform to learn. And of course, AWS User Group Ranchi, we do come up with a lot of these learning sessions. And now that the ice is broken, I'm absolutely open to be reached out, and I'll be more than happy to help you out in any possible way. We do have a Twitch channel as well, so that's the link for that, and AWS news blogs. Now let's talk about how you can go ahead and ramp up around training and certification. So there are three options or three ways by which you can do that. You can go ahead and look into the digital training. These are the free on-demand courses or maybe instructor-led training. And uh, if you see here at the bottom, what I have for you is, so this link will redirect me to a page wherein I have a whole bunch of AWS trainings free of cost lined up for me. I can go ahead and self-register myself. You just have to go ahead and click on sign in here, and you can sign in using the first option on the left hand side. This is the one, and I actually tried it out. It works absolutely fine. I used my Gmail ID and it worked fine for me. I can self enroll myself, and pick it up from there. So then what do we have? What do we have? It'll be injustice if we're not really talking about the certification aspect. A whole bunch of certifications lined up for you. It all starts with foundational at the very bottom, cloud practitioner. So it costs $100. An associate costs $150. Professional and specialty cost $300. And all of these certifications are valid for a good 3 years. So at the bottom, we have the link which will redirect you to the one-stop shop. Any kind of question that you have with regards to these certifications. Great. So this is where we end. I know I kind of went ahead, and it's 11:59 at this point of time, but more than happy to pick up any kind of questions that's coming our way. So
So,
yeah, go ahead,
hi, this
Rohini.
is Dar. So there were two questions actually. I tried to answer them in the chat, but it would be great if you could cover that. The first
Mhm.
is anything is coming in Bangalore as a region. So when you were talking about Hyderabad, someone asked, "What about Namma Bangalore?" So do you want
Yeah.
to? Cover that?
Very, very, very interesting questions. You know what? So, mm, as of now, I'm not really sure. And to be very honest, uh, there's nothing that I know of. Although we are part of the team here, but if in case there is something lined up, it's going to be a public announcement. But as of now, in India, it's only Mumbai, which is up and running, and Hyderabad, that's lined up, and that's going to be up in 2022. I know I didn't give you a right answer, sorry, a straight answer, but there's nothing lined up for Bangalore at this point of time. I'll be more than happy if in case it's Bangalore, because even now, because I'm also in Bangalore at this point of time. What's the next one?
So the sorry to add, I just
Yeah.
wanted to add there, right? Like the latency will not be that great of an improvement, right? I mean, from Bombay to Bangalore, it will be few milliseconds, and customers also can use CloudFront or other caching mechanisms to improve the latency, right? So as of now, we need to also think like, why do we need that kind of
Yeah.
requirement, right? We cannot keep having new regions in every other city that we have,
Yeah.
right? So
Fair point. So just to add on to what Rohini said, very valid point. So if you are worried about the latency, so this is something which you should be seeing. So these are all the regions that AWS has at this point of time. And the moment I click on HTTP ping, it will actually show up the latency. So let's see what's the difference between Mumbai and maybe the closest possible, say, Singapore, right? So Bahrain, it says 62 milliseconds, and Mumbai, it says 41 milliseconds. I don't know how much difference it will bring if, in case we have another one lined up in, say, Bangalore, and another one lined up in Hyderabad. So this is a very interesting, page to look at. You may want to have a look at it at a later point of time. Yeah.
and the second question was actually they were asking about any new offering on voice-based services. Uh, do we have any
Um, Voice-based services, you mean for outsourcing vertical? If that's the question, then
Mm.
yes, we do have a service called AWS Connect, and yes, so this is what I'm talking about. Is that what the question is? Is that what the ask is?
I hoping
It's
so. There was no clarification on that question. So if the person who asked this question wants to clarify, they can please do that in the chat.
Sure, no worries. So I have actually brought up the page up so that you can see it. So this is a service called Amazon Connect, and if you can look at the very first line, it says easy to use omni-channel cloud contact center. And it's a wonderful service to use, because I actually started my career from outsourcing vertical. I was part of the pre-sales team, and I've seen the kind of struggle a call center agent goes through, and it brings on the table a whole bunch of capabilities. And if you're talking about, if in case we have a customer who's using it or no, yes, we do have customer use cases also lined up. Morrison, DLT, Rhode Island, Intuit, there are a whole bunch of customers. So this is the page you should be going to if you have any more questions, or if you need any more clarifications around that, if that's the ask.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I think we are towards the end of questions, unless we'll just wait maybe a few seconds to see if new questions are coming in. Uh, but that was amazing session. Thanks a lot. It was quite crisp. I heard the entire session. So it was very nice.
Perfect. Thank you, Rohini. And I don't really see how many of you are there on the call. And team, thank you so much for providing me this platform. And it's always good when you connect back to the set of people where you are coming from. So I actually did all my studies from where you all are coming from. Assuming, I know making assumption is not really right, but a good number of you must be from the western part of the country. So thank you so much, and I look forward to get connected again. And that's it. You all have a good Saturday and a great weekend ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Take care.